You
Hello, can
know.
you hear me?
Oh yeah, hi.
Hello.
Hiya.
Hi. Hi, I'm Natasha.
Hi, I'm Gabi.
Hi.
I'm Joana. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Okay.
you. I can hear you, Gabi. I don't know if Victoria is saying anything. No, I mean, say something again.
Okay, can you hear me now better?
Oh yeah, no, it's fine.
Yes.
Okay, I was using my mic because last time I was without it and the sound was horrible, but I guess it's better horrible than nothing, right?
Yes.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good,
Yeah.
very excited.
Good. Okay. Well, thanks. I didn't notice when you all signed into the chat. So yeah, that's really cool that you were here. And I don't know, we can just take a couple hours to, well, a couple hours. It can be 1 hour, it can be less if you want. I'm just curious to know your work better, and maybe you have some questions for each other, so we can just chat and see what happens. I already did 2 of these chats already with some people, and every time I prepared some sort of structure, I was like breaking it down to segments, what we're going to talk about, but every time it would just start developing organically, so I had no control over it. But actually it turned out to be pretty cool because then people could engage with each other. And so yeah, don't worry and ask questions whenever you want. One thing that I noticed before, because of this organic development, I didn't introduce anyone to anyone in the beginning of the chat, and I wanted to maybe do that. So how I know Natasha, we used to study in the same university together, but she was on animation course, I was on media course, and I guess we met through people, friends in common in the campus.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
always events happening, and we just crossed paths. And I don't remember that we talked a lot before in the.
Maybe. Oh yeah, and you did that project about nothingness,
Yeah.
and I was trying to say something intellectual about nothing, but in Polish. It was
Yeah.
complete trash, and I hope you never translated that.
I think we met also on either the end of my second or my last year, because I remember I left London, so quite soon after we got to know each other. But yeah, we kept in touch, and I never forgot your work. It's always been something that I remember, the surrealism and the style of it. And when I started doing these chats, you were like, I put your name in my list. I'm like, I have to talk to her. I have to share. I have to know what your journey has been, because we haven't really spoken for so many years. I'm really curious where you are at right now. So I hope we're gonna hear some of that.
I'm a bit chaotic because the past months are just all over the place. So I have.
Yeah. And Joana, I found your Instagram. Actually, it was, I don't remember when, but I was in Lisbon. I lived in Lisbon at that point. And I just really love the vibrancy and the color of your work and the concept of it. And I just remember following you. And then I moved to Aveiro in Portugal. And then I noticed that you had an exhibition nearby, and I was like, well, but I couldn't go. I remember I couldn't go to that exhibition. And then it actually just hit me after I left Portugal that you are the person behind this Instagram account. We have so many friends in common and everything.
Yes, it's true.
So yeah, and I don't even remember if we crossed paths in reality. Maybe, I'm sorry if we
I don't think so, but maybe.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because everyone, I was staying in this art house in Portugal.
Yes.
And we have so many friends in common with Joana from there. And it's just crazy that we've never met. I guess maybe we
because
have
of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not going to Aveiro a lot now.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad. But when I'm back there, we're gonna meet finally.
Because I'm just near Aveiro, not in Aveiro.
What's the name of
Águeda.
Yeah.
Águeda.
I've heard of it, but I haven't gone.
Yes, and the exhibition was in October.
Yeah, I remember that because
yes.
yeah. Well, I'll ask you about the exhibition as well, actually, because I couldn't participate, so I have questions about it.
Yes.
And yeah, Gabriela, we haven't met, but I know you for about 2 months now, and you were introduced to me by Yeva, the girl who was in the last chat talking about her illustration work. And we just briefly actually had a chat a couple of weeks ago, I think, about your work. Yeah, and I really felt like I want to have you. I want to talk to you in this kind of environment because of what you do. You said you work with art therapy and illustration, right? So it's very interesting. And I always try to, with these chats, find people who come from very different backgrounds, because I think it's really interesting to share creative practice from different perspectives, right? And I think you guys all work on some way with illustration, let's say, but you come from such different backgrounds. So it's going to be very interesting for me to see how, the discussion goes as well. And yeah, that's my introduction, I guess, to you all. I asked you to prepare some sort of introductions about yourself and some work. So if you have something, it would be really cool. Maybe you can share, and then we can discuss and ask questions. And I have prepared some topics that I want to go through as well. I see Joana now first. Maybe you want to tell us more about your project and your practice.
Yes. So I prepared a little presentation,
Awesome.
more like some images.
Great.
I can start by here because I have one.
Yeah, I
here.
noticed.
I can show you what I do. Can you see?
Yeah.
It's a picture, and I make this kind of digital painting on pictures. So I transform everybody into drag queens.
All right.
And I started doing it to myself. I'm a pretty festive person. I like party, I like glitter, and I like disguise. I like carnival, Halloween, every opportunity to make myself look different. That's a thing that I love. So I can show you. This is me partying. This is obviously Halloween. So I always like to dress up and do makeovers. This was the first attempt to look like a drag queen. I was Ruth Royale. It was the name.
Okay.
Wow.
Makeup experiences, going wild.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, and this was a few days ago, actually week ago, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Even when I'm asleep, I wear disguises. So I really enjoy to transform myself, and the idea to look in different ways, it's something that amuses me. And I created something to amuse myself called a drag a day. The theme was like a drag a day keeps the boredom away. And because drags are not boring, they are the opposite of boring. That's why I love so much that kind of universe. So I started to take pictures of myself and transform into putting layers, and then transforming the layers into colors. So I make something like a digital makeup. And these are some examples of me as a drag queen. And then a lot of friends of mine were interested in looking like a drag queen too. Suddenly, everybody wanted to look like a drag queen. So after some requests, I started doing it with my friends, starting to ask for pictures and giving some gifts, crazy gifts. Yes, I dragged my friends literally to this. Even my grandma, she is active on Facebook, and she was not understanding what I was doing, so she commented in one of my posts saying that she wasn't understanding, and I made her a drag queen too, so she could understand better what I was doing, and she understands. So then I was in need of new faces, and I thought about people that I admire in Portugal, and I choose some young people that are doing some nice stuff in music, in photography, and I picked some people that I like, and I transformed them, some of my idols. This is Filipe Sambado, he's a Portuguese singer. This is Fatinha Ramos, she's an illustrator. The Chick, it's a musician. And then I thought about doing this exhibition because a friend of mine asked me, why don't you do an exhibition? And I was like, oh, okay, this year I'll do it. So I organized everything, and I made it happen with the help of my friends. I use a home, the entrance of the house of one of my friends to do the exhibition.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
This is part of the gallery. I'm in the gallery right now. So I can show you some pictures of the exhibition. Yes, this was the entrance. I made a little funny thing with a mirror where you could see yourself.
I see. Yeah, that's so cool.
So this is the one that I have behind.
Yeah.
That I show you. Okay. It's me happy. And then I started to think, I started to need more faces again. And I thought about ages, like the 20s, the 30s, like to create themes for me. So I started to search for people that I like too, but from special periods of time. And I found Josephine Baker from the 20s and 30s. She was a dancer. And Dali. And Grace Jones. Dali is from the same period. Grace Jones she's not. It's from the other one, from the pop art group. Yeah. Sometimes I make these crazy things just to amuse myself. It's not. And Andy Warhol, the pop art was one of the main influences for me because of the colors, because of the way to express the kind of illustration that I do kind of looks like serigraphy, the technique. So I think that's a pretty big influence on me. And finally, I started to make some T-shirts and some merchandising because I was trying to sell illustrations, and it's really hard. And I started to apply it on T-shirts and tote bags, and maybe I'll be luckier now. I just started to doing it a few time ago. So that's it. That's my presentation.
Well, I hope you sell a lot of clothes with that, with those illustrations. Maybe they're really nice. And did you get any responses from the Portuguese famous people that you did the drag for them?
Yes, the first ones. I even talked to them before I dragged them. yes, I started to speak the Portuguese ones from the musicians, and so I talked to them in Instagram, and they were really responsive. Some of the artists were the ones that sent me the pictures.
Okay, I see.
Then I started to think, how could I get better pictures? And I talked to a photographer, and I made the illustration of her too, because I admire her too because of her work. So actually, I met a lot of people doing that, trying to reach the persons that I was going to illustrate.
How did you go into the whole drag culture for illustrations? Like what, because you said you like to dress yourself up and so on, but why did you go into drag?
I don't know. I think it called me in some way. I don't have any connections, any special connection because of anything. It's just I always liked color, like different looks, like do you know the club kids of New York? That ones that used to go out wearing crazy outfits. And I really like that kind of culture, that kind of looks. Anything that shakes the world, makes it look vibrant and alive.
Yeah, I think it's very expressive. You can be as crazy as you want, and
Yes.
and it's really cool to see that in the picture as well. I never thought about drag being like a 2D kind of thing. So it's really interesting how you apply that method to an image.
Because it's a faster, I started to doing it on illustration because it's a faster way to look different. I already used to do it by using makeup and dress up, but in illustration, I can make it very, very quickly. And I can change myself easier.
You know, I don't know if you guys know, it reminded me now of this, I forgot the name, but there's a collective or company that do clothes. They Photoshop clothing basically on people, and it's digital clothing brand. And so they also, like, the idea behind that is that, you know, it's the most sustainable clothing brand you will ever have, because it doesn't produce anything, and there's no waste, you know. But that's also similar kind of like layering, I guess. I will share that with you. Let me just find it later. And what about exhibitions? Are you planning any for this year?
For this year, I didn't think about it yet. Currently, I'm trying to focus on the t-shirts and tote bags, trying to produce something, some of that, because it's the first time I'm doing it. So one thing at a time. But the exhibition, obviously, I wanted to do more if it's possible.
Yeah, well, let's hope it's gonna be possible soon.
Yes, better without pandemic.
Yeah. And Gabi, did you have any exhibitions of your illustration? Let me ask.
Well, I don't have any upcoming exhibitions just now. There are some thoughts floating about and just where I'm at. I'm in Edinburgh right now, but I'm originally from Lithuania. And in Edinburgh here, we have a small community of Lithuanian female artists. So we have a group for that, and kind of thinking about maybe group exhibitions coming up, but not just yet. I've not done an exhibition here in Edinburgh.
Have you done elsewhere?
Yeah, I've done exhibitions in Lithuania.
Okay.
But it was more to do with the academic work when I used to study in the art academy.
Yeah, so like student sort of exhibitions. Okay.
Yeah, student and like independent exhibitions as well for young artists and such, like different topics. But yeah, I would love to do an exhibition here, and especially with that small community
Yeah,
ours.
and how are the restrictions at the moment? Like, do you have more freedom than
Very
Lithuania or no?
restricted.
Yeah.
Like we're very restricted. We're just all staying at home. That's it.
Yeah.
I had a question for Joanna,
Yeah.
actually, about her work.
Yes.
I wanted to ask about what's the community of drag where you're at? How did the community react to your work? Was there any kind of connections with that, or were you completely separated?
Yes, we are completely separated. The only communities that I'm connected with is by Facebook groups. They're from United States, Brazil, and they comment my work, but we don't have that connection. It's only in the internet way, only this connection. I don't know any drag queen. I don't know any.
Oh, I was interested because in your pictures you showed like that you were doing drag on your own, like doing makeup and such, and maybe going out somewhere. Is that clubs or just locations?
Okay, so yes, I used to do that when I was going out, but it was not special places for that. It was just night places, just parties or themed parties. I actually went to a concert once because the feeling of the musician was kind of dragish, and I decided to go as a drag. And sometimes I used to do that when I was going out before the pandemic. Now I do it at home. I put some music on and I spend hours doing the makeup and choosing clothes, and I have fun.
That's the best part of it.
You should do parties, virtual parties for people to, you know, drag up. I mean, if I had makeup, any kind of makeup, I would join. But
okay. Can you help me organize?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be so fun.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to have a close look at your Instagram and everything. Now I'm really curious. Yeah. And maybe take one portrait.
Oh, thank you.
That would be cool to have.
Yeah, I want one now.
Yeah, I want one too, actually.
Oh, nice.
Have some commissions now.
Yeah.
You share your Instagram handle here, or are we gonna find you in any way?
I can share it for you if you want, but it's IDragYou, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, check it out. Follow, like, share.
Thank you.
Gabi, do you want to show us some work as well and tell us about some of your experience?
Yeah, definitely. So hello, I'm Gabi. I know it says Gaba here. I will change it. I'm Gabriella, but I go by Gabi because here in UK everyone just calls me Gabriella, and I'm not having that. So it's a good name, but you know it's not my name.
Exactly.
So I just go by Gabi, and okay, I will try to share stuff as well.
People in the UK and Portugal would always pronounce my name as Viktorija, and and every time I'd be like, just call me Vic. I cannot.
Don't worry. Like, so many times people call me Natasza. I'm like, no, it's just Natasha. It's not. And also because my surname is Cetner.
Yeah.
But so many people just call me Natasza Center. And it's just, oh, no. How did that happen?
Do you go by Natasha or?
Yeah, just Natasha or Nat, just to avoid stuff.
Yeah. Okay, though. So I tried sharing it, and you can now see my.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, you made like a whole presentation.
Yes. Sometimes I go all out on it, but sometimes I can't be bothered. So I don't know. I just went.
This is one of the times where you go all out now.
So yeah, I go by Gabi, and I just do my surname Gik because nobody can ever say Gikite. They just call me Jaikaiti, and so I just go Gabi Gik, and that's me. And yeah, so I would say an independent artist, and I also work as a support worker in a charity organization that supports people who are diagnosed with autism.
Mm.
So that's my day job, and then I do art. But I was trained as an artist. I finished the Academy of Art in Lithuania, and I'm still pursuing being a full-time artist. It's just getting there slowly, but I think we can all take our time with our goals.
Of course.
Yeah, and you can see my handle just here. If follow, like, subscribe, you know, share, please.
Share.
Yeah, I'm doing aggressive marketing.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, desperate times.
All right, and yeah, what I usually do, what I'm focused on right now, is ink illustration. So I use either ink and a brush, or mostly ink pens, and I do lino cuts, and I print them at home. I have my home studio, which is just the room that I work in, and some stuff, you know, that helps me, like a wooden spoon that I have just here, you know, kinds of that stuff. Yeah, it took me a very long time to actually find my style. As every artist probably knows, you know, it's like you're in search of your own authentic voice. And then only recently, after I graduated, I understood that you don't find your style, you just decide what you want to do. Other way, you would be, you know, searching forever. I mean, well, that's what happened to me. Everyone's different, obviously.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of themes in like concerning mushrooms and goblin core. There's no such thing as goblin core, I don't think, but everyone's heard about cottage core, I guess, or like all of those cores that are everywhere around us, like in the media now. And I really love cottage core. So it's like all of those little cottages in the woods with fairies and mystical creatures. So I went for goblin core because I'm also inspired by Lithuanian folk art. And we don't necessarily have goblins in our mythology, but I really like the creature called Kaukas. And this is like just like a house spirit of prosperity, but there is no such word in English to describe it. I've read a book called Kauku Draustinis, and it was actually just translated into Goblin's Reservation. So it concerned goblins. Anyway, like I'm going on a tangent. So this is how I found my goblins, and I'll just show a little picture here that I have on the screen of one of the goblins. This is my little goblin girl, goblin goddess, and that's lino cut. So this brings us to the lino cuts. And how I do my art, like I love kind of meditative coloring in. So I would do the outline of my work in sort of automatic drawing way, not really thinking about it. I maybe have a topic, like I would make an outline and in a really meditative way where I don't think about it, and then color it in just without thinking. I really find that helpful with anxiety and such, and like just relaxing. And from here, let me take you to some examples of my lino cut. Oh, is it going? Here it is. I know I'm going a bit like back and forward, but probably this is just my way of speaking because I'm so excited about it. Yeah, so nowadays I do a lot of lino cuts just for myself. I don't do any lino cuts for commissions or exhibitions or any like paid for work. I just love that motion of carving, and I have a lot of little things here. For example, doing a stamp like that, so you can see the printed version, and this is my matrix that I carved it from. And this is really for my own well-being. I love the carving method. It's a bit dangerous in a way because you can always just cut yourself accidentally. That's scary. But once you have it tamed, it also like gives an immense satisfaction, you know, just like carving out the lino. It's like smooth and you reveal the picture. And also it's also like the surprising thing about it, you know, since you cut it out, it's always a mirror image printed. So that's also very fun every time to see if you've made any mistakes in your typography.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's interesting to see because you basically never don't know what kind of picture you have until you actually have it, you know, printed. But I didn't think about typography. Like, how can you mess up spelling?
Yeah, you know, since you have to write it from the other side, it's always. If you make a sketch and then you kind of transfer that to your lino block in the reverse method, you know what your picture is going to turn out since you had a sketch.
Yeah.
I don't always like to make a sketch because I'm using that automatic drawing method. Like I'm really somewhat like that in life. I don't really make plans. I've got an abstract idea and then I go for it. You know, it's turning out fine, but sometimes I should maybe make a plan.
It's very interesting that you say that, and you say like you are more guided by this meditative, you know, feeling. But for me, your work seems so structured. It's really strange that you say it's the other way around that you do it. Like it's completely opposite from what it seems like to me, at least. Because when I saw it for the first time, I thought, oh, this is so like thought through and precise. So it's very interesting.
I guess that comes from that I've been doing it for a very long time. Before studying in the art academy, I've also studied in an art school, and before that, you know, my whole life I was drawn to it. I was drawn to drawing and creating. I guess all the years of doing art and studying art really pays off because I don't consider consciously all of the compositional details, color is just like very much unconscious and very much feeling based.
I wouldn't have guessed that's how you approach your work.
Like I didn't start out like that. It's been a journey of really only after I finished academy and had a little break from art altogether because I was just exhausted. And I decided just to really not judge my artwork and just do whatever comes out and be happy with it. Right, so some examples of my ink drawings. So I do take commissions from individuals or organizations for my work, and I always just have this set style now. So whoever approaches me, I would just be like, okay, I only do this. So don't ask me to do your, you know, realistic portrait because I'm not doing.
I have a story about that. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, I'm sure, you know, people still approach any artist like regardless of their style, being like, oh, can you paint a portrait?
Actually, what I'm getting is, oh, can you make those kind of vector-based cartoon characters? And how did you reach that conclusion?
Yeah, that's the truth, because like I only work traditional media. I don't work on my computer at all. So I need to really, you know, scan in good quality, keep the DPI high and such.
I mean, I do computer like animation, but also like last year someone approached me, do you want to make a video that promotes Tony Blair Institute? I was like, what have you seen what I've done?
Sometimes you can take on a challenge, but sometimes it's just like pure.
Yeah, they didn't like my page.
Oh no. I have some illustrations here from my recent and ongoing project called the Nut Owl, and it's poetry cast, like a podcast but poetry on Spotify about a traveling owl who travels through space, and I really enjoy doing that. So we're making season 2 now, and of course everyone's welcome to look it up. It's just Nut Owl, like an owl from nuts. And I've been doing that like the whole year this year because there's a lot of episodes, so I'm just drawing their cover artwork. And also I have some publications in the community magazine, so it's mostly in Edinburgh or UK, mostly from submissions for open calls, but I'm very grateful for people actually seeing that, you know, it's fitting and doing the publications, which I always enjoy, kind of getting involved in the local artist communities and spreading the word and like getting more people involved in all kinds of workshops and group work. So all of these are done with my ink pens, and as you can see, I always like love doing the borders. I don't know where that came from. I think I saw someone on Instagram like doing borders on their illustrations, like very decorative ones, and I thought I'll do it. And since then, I just do it all the time, which is really fun.
It looks,
I think
it looks like there's another story outside of the frame, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially, I don't know if you can see my mouse. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can.
So this one is a portrait of the girl who made me these earrings. They're amazing.
Oh, okay.
They're like copper. So we did an art trade. So she made me the earrings, and I made her a portrait with all of her tools in the border. And I'm just so happy she liked it. And from here, let me take you to the automatic drawing. I put an almost here in the brackets because pure automatic drawing is really mostly just doodling with very organic shapes, just whatever comes to mind, obviously, and you work on that. But in my drawings, as you can see in my illustrations, there's some sort of storyline being told. So it's an almost automatic drawing. I don't think about the storyline when I think about a concept. Well, okay, so for example, this, I also just like drew it on the lino block without a lot of sketches. I did a couple of sketches, but the concept was, you know, I want to have like a goddess at night and she's a goblin. There was nothing like really to it. I just felt this cottagecore feeling. I didn't do many sketches, or I didn't explore themes with it. I didn't explore compositions. I just went and drew this. And this was the first outcome of the idea. I did do a little bit of tweaking afterwards, like tweaking the details and such. So that's why I called it almost automatic drawing. And that really ties into the work that I do with the Scottish Autism Organisation. So now we have a project called an art group, which I run weekly for people who have autism, and they connect through Zoom. We are doing like online sessions where I really just promote the creative process, focusing on not judging your creation. Sometimes it's very tough because people come into these things and expect that, you know, the facilitator is going to teach them to draw very well and they're going to create something very beautiful. But I really want to concentrate on the process itself. It's very freeing. It takes a long time to really get there, I would say, because I struggled with that a lot before, especially when studying. I would have an idea in my mind, and if I tried to create it and it doesn't happen, and it would never happen like I wanted to, because there are either no such materials as I imagine, or I don't have the skills, and it would just like keep me disappointed. And I really struggled with that. And I know a lot of people struggle with that, especially people who want to start creating, but they are afraid that they're going to fail. And so in this art group and my other work as well, like independent workshops or independent coaching for people, focusing on just starting. And then it's a very psychological process to maybe not judge, not only your drawing, but not to judge yourself. Stop like judging your actions, your thoughts, you know, trying to further yourself away from what you think other people think of you, because really it doesn't matter. And I know everyone says that, but the most important thing that matters in your life is what you feel and like how you feel in your life. Not even how much you succeed or not succeed or achieve, but like how are you feeling, you know, is how are you going through life and like how does it feel. And of course, like accepting all of the emotions, not only the good ones. You know, if you're having a bad day, accept it, it's fine. And really just making your peace with it, that whatever you do and however you feel, it's fine. You know, it's okay. I love that. I don't know, maybe it's a bit silly just saying that, you know, it's fine, it's okay. But I would want a tattoo on myself being like, it's fine. Like, stop fretting about it. Because I do really give into anxieties, and that leads to very bad places. That leads to kind of self-loathing and being afraid, which is not good at all if you're trying to move forward. So yeah, in that art group with autistic individuals, we focus on starting and creating in the here and now. We usually have like a very broad theme that I come up with to kind of jump off from into creating something. And it's really, really nice to see how people actually engage. You know, sometimes people are a bit apprehensive and they're like, I don't know how to draw, I don't know how to do this. And like I'm trying to encourage using any technique that you like. You don't have to only draw, you can do collage, you can use plasticine, because a lot of it is very tactile, you know, people like touching stuff and how that interacts with your body. And I find, that materials are very, very important in that creative process. Maybe if you're doing something and you think that, oh, you know, I'm failing, it doesn't look good, try a different technique, try a different material. Maybe that's one just not for you. Maybe you don't like the texture of the paper. You don't even notice sometimes because it's very unconscious, especially for neurotypical people who don't really notice that stuff. We just like, we think, you know, you either do it or not. But in the end, we don't really focus on how does it feel on our skin? How does it feel when we look at it? Like, is it too much? Is it too little? Yeah, like, what is the sensation of it? So I think I would encourage everyone to look a bit more into that kind of sensation part as an artist. I know artists always just express their emotions, like want to express their emotions and their like maybe truth, the truth that they have, but also really thinking about how does the process makes you feel, how does the materials make you feel, and not judging the outcome, just really accepting it. And I also put a link here for the an article I made about automatic drawing that was a couple of years ago, but it still holds up in a way. I learned more. I just wanted to show some video short clips. Yeah, this is the automatic drawing that I've done, that I talked about, that had a topic, which I did at Inktober.
Oh, I have the same pen.
Yeah, this is amazing. I loved it.
I was gonna comment on the pen as well.
It
looks majestic.
It's really fun working with it. So that's just like a glass ink pen, and I use just liquid ink. and did the Inktober, and the theme for that day was freeze. So I did like some waves and a frozen snake. That's from the Lithuanian folktale. You see, I didn't have a sketch. I just thought about it, and then the first idea that popped into my mind, I didn't edit it in any way. I was just like, okay, I'm drawing that, and that's it, and leaving it to it. I might be happy with it, I might not be happy with it. So here, like, I've redone it, but then I wasn't happy with that one either. But I just thought, I've did it, I've done it, I will accept it. And that's what I really encourage people to do. Whatever you create, don't throw away your work. Don't look at it as, it's really bad, it's not worth sharing with the world. It is worth, because you created it. It came out from whatever, like your unconscious, or how you were brought up, or the inspirations that you had, and it is valid. So I'm an advocate for every work deserves to be shared with the world. So of course, if you want to read this article, please do. That's kurkurk.lt, and you can have it in English as well. And here are just like 6 tips how to do some almost automatic drawing, or just like really try doing it. Have no plan. Just have a piece of paper or whatever your material is that you're using. Don't expect anything from yourself or from the drawing or from the creation. So don't expect it to be good or bad, because a lot of people, when they start drawing, they'll be like, oh, it's going to be bad. It's not going to be bad, nor it's going to be good. It's just going to be what it is. Don't judge it. You start doing it. And I know a lot of people would just like fret and judge. Try not to do that. Or I know the thoughts are going to come up, but maybe like in meditation, try to let them go. Observe your process, feel like, and think how it's going to make you feel during that. This one I learned when I was studying art psychotherapy, and it's really helpful. It's not a degree or anything. I was just studying it. Think about that, maybe write down what it feels like and accept it and be proud of it. I mean, you don't have to be proud of it, but it's good if you are. So thank you so much.
It was very interesting what you said about learning to let go of expectations, that it takes longer probably than actually learning to achieve results when creating, right? So like when you start studying something, you always learn to produce the final work, right? And we never focus on this idea that maybe process is actually more important, and maybe we should prioritize that before we actually can move on to producing the result, right? And I never thought about that in this way, and I always felt like I never had that environment where I could focus on process. And I was talking to someone, there was a workshop that I attended a couple days ago, which was focused on imposter syndrome, of people who, don't feel secure about what they produce, and they don't feel confident about creative results. And I realized that we were talking in this workshop, and I realized I never had this environment where I could feel safe, and I would know for sure that I wouldn't get any judgment for my creative process and my experiments. And it was so hard to share my process with anyone, like especially as when you're growing up, you're a kid, I think it's very hard when you start creating, and if you already have this mentality that you have to achieve something, it's really hard. And then I thought, oh, when I go to university, when I go, when I become a professional in this area, it's going to be different. But weirdly enough, nothing changed at all. And it's really sad, because I keep talking to people who are professionals now as well, and they also share this dissatisfaction with the whole idea of creativity, and how it's so focused on the results.
It's one collective illustration, I think, on Instagram. They do, you have those reels on Instagram, and they basically for artists and illustrators to loosen up. Like, for example, they have, oh, today we're going to draw with sticks. Get a stick,
Oh
or
yeah, was that the good ship illustration, I think.
yeah, they're really nice. You just focus on experiencing the movement and just be expressive. And some of the drawings, are ugly as hell, but they're very enjoyable.
That's
So
true.
I can send you that later, but they're really nice. So the more I actually, because I'm suffering a lot from burnout lately, and there's, especially on Instagram, on like mostly, I feel like motion design people are mostly, they're machines, they're fine, but like animators, they're like, we're all like always burnt out, and there is so much like support group.
I definitely know collectives and places, and I participated in live drawing sessions as well, where people, do exercises. And of course, there are groups of people who do that, but I'm saying that it's not widely practiced thing. Like from my experience.
Maybe I'm lucky. I used to do that with my friends at home. Like, let's grab a paper and paint something with these paints or with the pencils. And you were talking about collage. I did one 2 weeks ago, just by fun. Maybe I'm lucky. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's very different, especially in the location you're at. I have not necessarily come around support groups independently back in Lithuania, but I don't think I was searching for them. So it really depends if you were actually actively trying to be involved, because sometimes we just forget to ask for help. And but I know what you're saying, Viktorija. This is like these types of workshops, or maybe looking more to your experiences, like feelings and mental health, are more common in communities maybe with disabilities or with mental health issues and such. And sometimes if we think that I don't need this kind of support, we don't necessarily get it. But I would like it to be more mainstream, so it would be more accessible to people who actually maybe don't know about it, and they don't have the tools to deal with their feelings, or they just dismiss their feelings and don't think that actually it would be beneficial for them to get involved in the community.
When did you even start thinking that maybe you should focus more on yourself when creating?
I don't know. It's still ongoing, because
of course.
I studied a lot of art. I always thought that I was good at it. I might not necessarily been as good at it as I thought I was, as seen from critiques and responses. But I did start to be more free in myself, maybe in the third year in the academy. Like experimenting with drawing a lot, just experimenting with other techniques, or really kind of taking a risk and exhibiting something, in the reviews and such, that maybe was done really last minute. And I thought, it's okay, it's good, it's fine. This is what I wanted to create, and this is what I did. Even like, it doesn't matter what the response is going to be. So I did try that, but in that way, there was a lot of academic pressure, I would say. So only like really after that, after I graduated, and then when I came to live in Scotland, which was the same year I graduated, almost 4 years ago, I really, removed those shackles, because I thought, oh, I'm not studying anymore. I'm a free person. I'm a free artist. I don't have to, do art for anyone except for myself. Like the studying was very helpful, because knowing the techniques and like getting the skills was important. But realizing that, I can just create for myself, and it doesn't matter what other people think. it took me a while, it took me a while to think that through. And the goblins really helped me, I think, because once I discovered them, I was like, oh, this is like some sort of an androgynous character, which is set in these fantastical places, and I really can decide what I want them to be, or whatever comes out. And they live in that world, and it's fine for them, so it's fine for me.
That's a different world, right, that you create, so there are no limits really. That's really interesting. I think for me it was more like I started realizing, this is maybe gonna sound weird, but I started realizing that whatever I'm producing is never good enough anyway. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do also like whatever I feel like I want to do, and I'm not gonna please anyone, like everyone all the time anyway. And it was also in my last year of university, I think, where I started thinking this way, but then I took a long break from creating anything, and when I came back to it, I came back with this also freedom, because I disattached myself from this title of creative or artist completely at that point. And then I was like, well, I'm not you know I'm not that, so I don't have to be amazing in it. And I just started doing, and I started feeling good about it, and that's how it came about, I think.
That's amazing.
What about you, Natasza and Joana?
Yes, I started to. Sorry, Natasza. Okay.
No, I think I'm the complete opposite, and I'm mostly powered by self-hatred, anxiety, and insomnia. So,
wow, yeah. Well, I relate to the insomnia thing, but
it's different kind of fuel. And maybe when I'm 80, I will learn self-love and self-acceptance when it comes to art. I've been trying lately, like, to earn living by art and animation. I'll talk about it later, but yeah, I mean, sometimes I do those kind of exercises when, for example, I watch a movie and I just pause the film and I make like a 30-second sketch. It's just for my hand, it's just for my brain to loosen up, and then maybe it will help, with some other works. Those kind of exercises that are more enthusiastic and more impressionist in a way. Yeah, I always put way too much thought into sketches or illustrations or animation, because in the end, you do have to plan a lot, even if the technique is quite experimental, or maybe the animation is quite experimental, and it comes from intuition, but then still you have to go through a lot of technical stages when you have to scan it in, or color, or edit and compose it. So it's quite, I don't know. I know what I'm saying. Maybe Joana, please take it.
Everyone has their own way, and it's not everyone is the same. So for everyone, it's a different story and a different journey.
Yeah, but I really can relate with that thing that we're not. At first, we don't feel that our work is good enough. And I was not believing in what I was doing. I was doing it to amuse myself, just for it. And I just started posting and sharing because my friends told me to. My friends, my family, people around me kept saying that the illustrations were interesting, that the colors were really bright and really fun, and I should do it with more faces and contact people, and they even have suggested people so I could have more material, more faces. And that's how I started sharing, because I was not feeling that because it all started of to have fun, and I learned a technique in Photoshop, and then I kept using that same technique without thinking. I really can relate with what you were saying, Gabi, because the process is so well. I can do it so easily that I can focus or not focus. Yes, I can focus in what I'm feeling. And especially when I apply colors, I take a distance from the picture, and I try to feel the image. And if the colors look right in that time, in that moment, so it's right, it's the right color. I don't think too much too. So yes, I can relate with what you were saying, Gabi.
Yeah, that's good.
But I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you live with your art, from your art?
Oh, no.
Ah, okay.
I would like to. I
Okay.
do have an Etsy shop and I sell my artwork on Instagram and I do commissions.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a full-time job in the organization I mentioned, the Scottish Autism.
Ah, okay.
Where, yeah, I work as a support worker there, and I have my arts groups. I have 2 art groups there, so that's my, I don't want to say main job, but this is part of my life that pays more than my art.
Okay. My art doesn't pay anything.
Yes.
I have a full-time job, and that's where I get my money to live.
It's a hard topic.
It is.
It's a strong topic. Lost frame.
Are you tracing all day?
So right now I'm coloring in. So this is like one frame from the film I'm working on. These are soldiers in a barn greeting and stuff. So there's like, a lot of those. I'm basically right now just coloring in the black shapes.
I see.
Wow. I'm so excited to hear about it. Like, you're doing like traditional hand-drawn animation.
Yeah, I that's a bigger story for this one. I have visuals and stuff. Wait, let me unplug the projector for a second. Okay. Because then the computer thinks, there's a projector and second screen. Oh, no, stop.
That's cool lighting, though.
Yeah, no signal. That's the name of the color. Okay, so I guess I should. Hi, I'm Natasza. And I'm an animator or animation director and illustrator, and I finished, so I'm from Poland. And then I came to London to study animation right after my A-levels. So I did, BA at Westminster with Viktorija. She did the media. And then immediately after my BA, I did my master's degree at Royal College of Art in animation. I was supposed to wait like 2-3 years, to get used to my style, to take a break. But Brexit was announced, and there was a lot of uncertainty if the fees will stay or will they go up. So me and my couple of friends were like, okay, let's just do it now quickly, and we think about it later. So I graduated, I think now it's 1.5 years ago. Oh God, almost 2 years. And yeah, so I'm trying to earn a living from animation, so I can show you a couple of things. Maybe I can start with the project I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I start with my grad film because that's how I got into this one. So for like when you do your master's degree at RCA, your full second year is basically for your graduation film. You have it's not a full year, but it's like 7 months for your graduation film. And I love weird stories about animals. And one day I was looking through internet, and I found these headlines. Nigel, the lonely gannet, dies on island surrounded by concrete birds. Nigel, the world's loneliest bird, was no victim. He was a hero. Monogamous Nigel fell in love with a concrete bird and died just as the real bird flew his way. So this happened in New Zealand. So in the 80s, the environment volunteers, they decided that they're going to clear out this tiny island in New Zealand called Mana from invasive species like rats and other things like that. And so they can bring back the ecosystem. They can bring the balance back and bring the colonies of birds, mostly gannets. So in the 80s, they created like 70, yeah, like around 80 concrete gunnet decoys. And they also had solar-powered speakers that were imitating sounds of birds. Because gannets are like sea turtles, they come back to the place where they hatched. So if there are no birds will come to the island, so you have to trick them. Apparently, puffins are very stupid and they're really easy to trick. You basically put mirrors and they think, oh, there's more of us. But gannet, like, so it took almost 40 years. And finally, in 2013, one bird arrived. And he chose one of the statues and he fell in love with it. So he was courting the statue for 4 years. He was building nests, he was grooming the statue. And also the scientists think that he was rejected from his colony because they normally live in groups. So possibly Nigel was basically just ostracized because he was maybe a bit weird. They don't know. And in New Zealand, Nigel is the name for someone who doesn't have friends, so he was called Nigel. And around 2 weeks before Nigel died, 3 other birds arrived, and he still preferred the statue than the real birds. And he was found dead right next to the statue. So I thought it's an amazing story that shows love and dedication. And it's also about how when you fall for someone, you might be completely blinded by the infatuation and you can start imagining that that person is something completely else than they actually are. So maybe that's what Nigel was experiencing. Maybe for 4 years he was thinking, oh, I'm such a nice guy. Like she's going to love me back, right? Yeah. No, it's a freaking statue. But maybe he was happy. Maybe actually he wasn't lonely. Maybe he enjoyed the peace. We don't know. Maybe he died happy. But I thought that Nigel deserves a movie, and that will be my graduation project. The movie is 9 minutes long, so not really. I'll show just a teaser in a second. But basically, I was making, all of those research sketches of, a lot of gannets wandering around. This is like a little love dance that gannets do. They just tiptoe on like different legs. Here are some frames. So everything was animated digitally. And then it was printed out and traced on the other side with pencils and crayons. I have this one film, but I'm going to mute it and skip my face. No. I just want to show the progress, that this is, for example, digital animation. So it's quite rough. And then it was printed out and cleaned up and scanned and composited. These were the stacks of paper. It's really fun. There is also more. This was the whole film. So it's like those 4 stacks of paper.
Wow.
And yeah, so these are some frames from that shot, like 1 by 1. And I can show you a teaser of that. So the film did really well at festivals and online. Like it was selected for the premiere on Short of the Week and Staff Pick. And yeah, I managed to go to Slovenia and Estonia. It's really nice to meet people back in the old world. And this is the teaser. It's very dramatic, but it's not that dramatic actually, the film, because it's about a bird. Oh yeah, and there's also a walrus. So basically the whole plot is that the walrus is obsessed with trying to attract the birds to the island. And finally, when Nigel arrives, he's forcing Nigel to be normal and go and hang out with other birds. But when Nigel still wants to stay by the statue, he destroys the statue. It's a spoiler, but yeah. So it's also about that maybe some people, you know, they don't lead the most orthodox way of life, and we should just let them because it's not freaking our business. So, because in the end, the walrus, you know, learns that maybe he should just accept Nigel as he is, and it's fine.
Yeah.
So that was my grad film, and after that, like, it went online and it went, you know, I got quite a few inquiries about commissions and projects to work on. And one of the projects was this one guy said that if I want to make a 15-minute film about Italian partisans from Second World War, and I don't feel like I'm a good character animator, especially when it comes to soldiers. That, you know, there's a lot of characters everywhere. But it was lockdown number 1. I had no job. I was so depressed. Everything was going wrong, and I was stuck in Poland with no perspective of coming back. That I just found a nice boyfriend, and I'm just here stuck in Poland. I thought, yeah, sure, yeah, of course I can do soldiers, yeah. And I thought, future me will worry about that. Yeah, it'll be fine. And he did crowdfunding, and he actually gathered quite a nice like amount of money that he actually, you know, can finance me working on it for 10 months. So in the end, it's around 9.5 minutes long, and it's the same. It's very similar style of animating. So first I animate digitally, and then you can see, I have a projector here, and then I'm throwing the frames onto paper, and then I trace it in ink, and then I scan it in and composite. So here is some work in progress. Actually, I can show you some nicer clips that are from it. So this is what it looks like. Here they run out of the barn to shoot the Nazis. Here's a grenade. So I can't really show that much because we have the distribution deal, and these are the clips I'm allowed to show basically. And so I'm milking them as much as I can. And I have some work in progress, how it actually looks like. So yeah, so here's like the digital animation, some work in progress. I take a lot of reference footage of myself pretending to be a soldier, and it's really embarrassing. That's what it looks like. So everything is projected, and I have ink on my forehead. It happens a lot, like so there's this, it takes forever. There's a lot of Alice in Chains happening as well. Oh yeah, like we have a washing machine downstairs, so sometimes I can't work because the whole projector is shaking.
Oh my god.
I'm just okay, I guess I need to take a break for that and take a walk. There's more of me pretending to be a soldier. This time it's from a different angle. Then it's tracing myself sometimes. Like here I am a soldier that was, you know, checking on a dead soldier lying in the grass. Here are some of the frames. So right now I'm animating this scene. This is the digital version where soldiers are meeting other soldiers in the barn, and they're like, oh, they're friends, yay. The camera's like moving through them. Yeah. So that's what I'm inking right now. So I always do the digital animation first because, you know, it allows me and the client to see what it's going to look like before it's approved. And I can stop sharing for a second so I can show you those frames right now. It's only 10 seconds for now, so it's only 80 frames. It's around 8 to 10 frames per second. So it's like, I don't know if you can see very well, but this is what it looks like actually right now.
Wow, that's very cool.
This is 80 frames so far, still not halfway through, but we're getting there. And some of the frames have to be on A4 because there's too many details, but mostly I just try to wing it with A5. Hopefully, because, you know, you can see the brush strokes better, you know, because there's so much bullshitting like in this. Like, basically, I went with hand-drawn animation and inking, because if you fuck something up, like, oh, the leg is not moving the right way, but it's fine. Look at those textures. Look how look at that. Look, it's on paper. It's fine. So the other thing I was working on this year was this short film about a man who was raped when he was 7 years old. And 25 years later, he found out that the rapist moved to his neighborhood and he was actually planning to kill him. So they got the interview with the guy, because it's a real story, and they asked me to do some animations that will represent the violent fantasies and the trauma from the childhood. So, for example, this is one of the fantasies. He's shooting the guy in the crotch, and then he wants to shoot his skull. So this is actually different technique. This one was not with the projector, but this is a single sheet of inked paper. And then I have also digital animation, but I have the live view. I have a camera hooked up here. So I have the live view and I follow the lines, the guidelines which are being shown on the computer. Then I erase it and then I draw next frame, so you can still see the remains of the previous frames, because fragmentations and PTSD and memory and stuff like that. So this is another one, which is the nightmare, because the rapist was telling the guy that he's going to gut him like a salmon. So that's that. But here are my illustrations. Look, no raped children or soldiers for a second. So I'm trying to use some color sometimes. When I was locked up in the quarantine for 2 weeks, I thought this is the time when I can force myself to use colors. Yay! Some kitchen illustrations, some more color stuff. But this is actually what I do mostly, which is nightmares and anxiety and insomnia and unconscious dark thoughts. Here's a little comic about sheep observing an atomic bomb. This is what I did at my master's degree. One day I went insane from stress and I painted a massive swan lady. That was really fun. I actually started doing some lino cuts as well. So this is a portrait of a sheep. Here's some frames from the visuals I made for one music video that never happened, but it was fun. Here are some live drawings I used to do, like landscape drawings with ink, and this is my favorite breakfast place in Amsterdam. It's the best. Some more live drawings, and some character designs. And right now me and my producers, I have producers in Ireland, and we are preparing a series. We're actually trying to get series done. And we were pitching it at this one event virtually in Spain. I forgot the place. It doesn't matter because it was online. But the series would be about a headless chicken called Mike. And it was chosen by Cartoon Brew as one of the 3 highlights. And as they said, inspired the others pitch, I saw it springboard. So I'm proud of that. I made the weirdest pitch. And they have seen that here. So that's something. So it would be a mini series or a short film, depending who wants to fund what version. Right now we're waiting to hear if we can pitch it in France and in Slovakia. But it's basically a story, again, based on a true story. It was a chicken whose head was cut off in 1934. And actually the main brainstem was left in his neck, so he was actually still alive. But he had to be force-fed, like they had to put water and corn straight into his throat. So in my version, Mike, he's becoming one of the circus stars, because he was actually in real life, he was exhibited with 2-headed children and other freaks, which were basically disabled people. And in the 20th century, it was the best enterprise at the circus. And this is actually where he finds his new family, where he's being accepted, and he can actually be himself. I mean, his new self, post-decapitation. But in the end, he commits suicide because of the abuse and loneliness. So it's also a film about thoughts about, regarding euthanasia. Oh yeah, like in my MA, I made also, here's my website. I made it, I collaborated with Natural History Museum, and me and my friend animated silhouettes of animals. Like I took care of the owl and the badger, and it was interactive exhibition for like 6 months, I think. So here's like a tiny preview. So here's the badgers. Badgers are playing. I love the feedback from the studio because the studio was like, can you show badgers being a bit more like sociable? Or animated those, and then you think you're done, and then you get in the email like, in 3 minutes 41, the badger on the left is a bit too scared of the other badger. Can you make it a bit less scared? I'm like, it's not scared. He's just twitching because I'm fine. Sure, give me 1 hour. So now the hour landed. So yeah, so I have some sketchbooks and stuff that I already showed. Is there any other film I forgot? Yeah, I have other films from before. Or like my first year film was about it's based on a story of our family friend. I mean, it's based on thousands of women, millions of women who basically going through acceptance and grief that they will never be able to conceive a child. So it's about grieving over a dream that will never come true. So this woman is delusional, and she's basically growing a mandrake. Because mandrake, in the mythology of mandrake, was actually that they were used to cure infertility in women. And I also made sound by myself with synthesizers and weird instruments like mandolin and waterphone. Here's a teaser. So that's the trailer, and everything is online. It's all public. I don't really believe anymore in keeping films private, because you have to keep them private sometimes for festivals.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and Bara is a name for a mandrake taken, I think, from the book Jewish Wars, because there are so many names for mandrakes, and I wanted something cool. But some of them, they were really, like the French name for mandrake was unpronounceable. This one is like nice and short.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it, really.
Amazing.
Very, very dark and deep topics expressed in such a beautiful way. And it reminded me, the Nigel, reminded me for some reason, I don't know if you know, because I know it's all Russian animation, about a penguin who, I think it was seasoned for penguins to lay eggs. And then one penguin was supposed to look after another penguin's egg, but he lost it and replaced it with a stone. And then at the end, the other penguin didn't know, so he just always was with a stone egg until they had to migrate with their grown penguin children, and he was still carrying the stone, and he drowned because he was trying to carry.
I know. Birds are amazing. Let me show you my other favorite story.
Yeah,
I actually had
that animation is like, I still cry to this day when I see it, because it's just like so fucking dark. And yeah, but it's also really beautiful, and it reminded me of this I don't know, it's very kind of you become very vulnerable and when you watch that, you know. So it reminded me, your animation reminded me of that as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to find there's another story. Okay, it's fine. I found it. Let me show the screen quickly. I actually had so many nervous breakdowns over this one. Like if I should do the Nigel story or this one. So this is Petra. Let me show you the picture somehow. Petra is a black swan. Oh, go away, Telegraph, please. And Petra fell in love with a pedal boat. And
Wow.
she was obsessed with it. And she actually, you know, swans should be flying south. And she didn't fly with other swans. She stayed by the side of the boat. And one zoo in Germany actually, you know, adopted her and the pedalo boat so they can be together. And I think she also abandoned her swan partner for the pedalo boat. I mean, he's really cool. He's wearing shades. So it's such a good story, but this one can't be dramatic because you see this and it's immediately funny and absurd. While Nature is more tragic, but this one's just like, how did? Oh, it's great. Birds are the best, really. All the stories about birds are just amazing. Or there are stories about a parrot that escaped from his house in the UK and came back after 2 years and it could speak Spanish. So. Or one parrot escaped on the rooftop and the firefighters came, you know, to bring it, like to catch it somehow. And the parrot told "fuck off" to the firefighters, like, oh, they're amazing. They just never end.
That's amazing.
So,
I've never heard any bird stories like that. So
yes, thank you, because I like that kind of story too.
Yeah.
And now I know where to find it. Birds.
yeah. Also, Guardian has so many stupid stories. It's amazing.
Yeah, you know, as you said, maybe it's not as easy for you to do all of that, you know, automatic drawing and such. Well, now I know why, because you have to do a lot of planning. I don't think it would work for animation at all.
Yeah, I mean, there are some experimental animations that are based on experimental filmmaking, but what I like more is a bit more planned, but with surreal base, like visually.
Yeah.
I do like to plan stuff, especially with animation. But there's a lot of experimental animation out there. Like it's a growing base, or there's actually also increasing trend in animated documentaries where you mix experimental techniques with archive footage and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't really. I have too much self-control to do experimental animation, to be honest. I tried a couple of times, but it's just really awkward. Like you can see, like, yeah, she's trying to be experimental, but it's really awkward. It's really restrained.
Yeah.
Oh, your
for everyone.
style is really, really interesting, like with the brush strokes that you can see. You know, I was as well, you know, had the fascination with short animated films, and you know, it's usually like the independent artists doing so, and like all the different styles and techniques that they use. So I found yours very, very cool. And I'm gonna be checking out your website and just looking at all of the animations.
I have an Instagram.
Guys, so this is a good moment, I guess, to say that last time when we had a chat with other people, we decided to do a shared document, Google document, where we can share all sorts of links to our work or whatever we like to share, articles about swans falling in love, whatever. So I can send you a link, and please put everything that you want to share, because this is gonna be, I want to keep it going with it, like for next chats as well, and just put it on public so anyone who comes across can check. And so yeah, just share your websites, your socials, and also things that you like, maybe some platforms that you visit online, or your favorite bar in Amsterdam or whatever. You know, I think it's really cool to have all these inspirations in one place.
I'm just curious about how much time to do just Natasha, to do just 5 minutes of animation. How much time do you spend working on it?
5 minutes.
Yeah, like a short 5 minutes film.
Oh, 5 minutes is not a short film.
Yeah, yes, I believe it.
5 minutes is a lot of time.
Yes.
Well, the short I'm working on right now with the soldiers, I was given the storyboard, so that saved me a lot of time. But I can do basically rushing it, but it's around a minute per month.
Okay.
But
okay.
Depends on how complicated the animation is. Most commissions for music videos, they give you like 2-3 months for like 5 minutes, for example. And that's an insane and very burning out process. And you need like help from people, for coloring or cleaning up. But with the soldiers, I can do like, I should be doing a bit more than a minute per month to basically pay my rent. That's the brutal reality.
Okay.
Like, yeah, but I need to pay my rent, so it's so yeah, a minute per month. That's around that. But if I'm making the short film about headless chicken, that would be around 2 minutes per month, because if it's your short film, you want to put a bit more love.
Yes.
And when you say 1 minute per month, does that, like, how many hours per day do you spend working? Because you said
means I wake up and I go to sleep animating.
Yeah,
that's the way I work. I wake up a bit late and I start working around maybe 1 p.m., but I work until 1 a.m. I give myself maybe a day and a half a week off, just for the sanity.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I treat it as, that maybe this film will help with my later career somehow. So maybe it's worth killing myself for it. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's basically, every animator I know, they just wake up, start animating, and they go to sleep animating, and then you go to sleep thinking about animation, then you have sleepless nights because you don't know how to do this shot or that one, or the client wants something else because it's too abstract or too literal, and they want a bit more human figures, and so yeah. Well, yeah, like lately it's just thinking of, because it is my job, but it's also something that at least I used to love, and the more you work on it, the more you think, do I actually love it? Or do I just prefer to work in a pub?
Yeah, it becomes routine. I guess it's hard to distinguish the love from the craft.
It's really hard to separate it when you're basically so exhausted. And that's, I think, the biggest struggle, especially this year, when there's nothing going on. But I got a hamster. So.
Oh,
I know, yeah.
That's nice.
He's really cute. His name is
What's
Benny.
his name?
Benny.
Oh, Benny.
We have 2 minutes, so give me 10 seconds.
Yeah. Let's see Benny for the end of it.
Yes.
Does Benny have a presentation as well?
There he is.
Oh my goodness, so cute.
His little bum. He's quite sleepy right now.
Oh, it's so cute.
I know.
Oh.
Look, it's people.
Oh.
Yeah, really nice.
It's not fair if I say this is the best part, because we all presented our works, but this was a really cute part. Thank you.
This was the cutest part.
Yes.
Well, thank you for introducing us to Benny. And I see we have only 1.5 minutes left, and I feel like we could talk and talk actually, but I think we also need some sanity, and Natasza probably needs to go back to animating. So yeah, it was amazing to get to know you guys, and if you want to do this again in the future, let me know and let's chat. I really want to keep in touch with all of you and see your progress and see what you get up to. It was really nice, and thank you for taking time of your Saturday to come here and speak to me.
It was lovely.
Thank you. So nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you all.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you.
Okay, guys, I think it's gonna turn off soon. So bye-bye. Thank you very much and have a nice evening.
Thank you. You too. Nice to meet you all.
Meet you.
Okay, guys, just before you go, I just want to quickly announce the winner of the giveaway that ran throughout February of this nipple shirt. And all I ask you to do is follow FSUMMER and comment something on this picture. You did it. I have 6 entries of you from Facebook and Instagram. So I will do this as I'm recording. I'll shuffle a little bit. And let's see who's gonna have the immense pleasure of wearing this shirt very, very soon. No. Oh yeah, there is. Paul! Congrats, Paul. I'll get in touch with you, and thank you guys for watching, and tune in into the next month's mainstreaming. It's going to be posted very soon, and I'm going to speak to 3 more really cool creative people. Thank you. Bye.